Hey Tamers, welcome back to Hero Games. We have a deck request to go over today, and that was doing a green Digi-Burst Tea Party deck. It's going to be a theme deck. We're going to make it as competitive as possible while keeping to that theme, and it's actually going to be a lot of fun. So let's check it out. Alright, so starting with our Digitomos, we are running 4 copies of Budmon. This little guy is super adorable, but more importantly, Budmon, if our Digimon has Digi-Burst, it gets 1000 DP. We're running a lot of Digi-Burst in this deck, so it's definitely going to come up. It's always going to be relevant. And then we are running the 1 copy of the new BT5 Yokomon. If this card is trash due to Digi-Burst, this Digimon gains 2000 DP. Really, I could go either way on these. I could switch out the Buzzmons for more Yokomons, because we will be doing a lot of Digi-Bursting. So it's really a matter of preference a lot on what someone would rather run. And then for the inspiration of this deck to begin with, we are running 3 copies of the starter deck Floramon. This adorable little guy here is having a little tea party. It is a 2-drop, 1-2 evolve. The 1-2 evolve kind of sucks, but more importantly, we're not trying to evolve it. We're just trying to 2-drop it. And it's the main focus of the theme of the deck, and that is the tea party. So this is a matter of preference. This is entirely a personal choice card, but we're keeping it. We're running 3 copies of LaLaMan from BT4. This is the Digi-Burst level 3 of choice, obviously. When it is Digi-Bursted, instead of going to the trash, it goes back to the hand, which allows us to keep cycling through level 3s without getting bricked. This is a staple to run in any kind of Digi-Burst deck, as well as its other color variants. We are running 3 copies of the new Terriermon Assistant from BT5. This is also a Digi-Burst card, similar to the old Tintamon card. Digi-Burst, you get to look at the top card of your deck if it's a green Digimon. You get to add to your hand, otherwise it goes to the bottom. So this is a nice little extra searcher card while having Digi-Burst. The Digi-Burst itself is more important than the actual effect, and we'll kind of get into why of that here coming up. We're running 3 copies of the BT5 Palmon. This is kind of a Digi-Burst recycler. When this card is deleted, we get to add a Palmon from our trash to the bottom stack of a Digimon. So this allows us to refill our Digivolution stacks, as well as maybe get a different card underneath a Digivolution stack, and we'll kind of get to that coming up here too. Then we are running 3 copies of DoKunemon, who on play for 3 cost allows us to search the top 3 cards of our deck for a Digi-Burst card. About half this deck, if not more, is all Digi-Burst cards, so it's a very easy searchable to run in this. Definitely a useful card for getting out our cards a lot quicker. And then we are running our 1 single copy of Promo Palmon. When this card is discarded due to Digi-Burst, that Digimon gains jamming. This is a really good card to run in Hercules Kabuterimon, for example, to add jamming to that beast effect. However, since we are running everything Digi-Burst, the card will get to play on just about anything in this deck. We're only running 1 because we only have 1 copy, unfortunately. But it is a good one to run, and in the case that it ends up in the trash, we can play this Palmon to add this Palmon back to the bottom of the stack. So even with 1 copy, we definitely have a few ways to get it back from the trash if it ends up in there. So it's not the end of the world if it gets checked in security, for example. For our level 4s, we are running 4 copies of the starter deck Kabuterimon. This is arguably the better of the blockers for green. It is a 1-2 evolve, 5000 DP blocker. We are using this mostly for the 1-cost evolve. We're trying not to block in this deck if we can avoid it, but if you do have to block, being able to put 1 out for 1 memory is pretty good. He's cheap to evolve. Our other 1-cost level 4, we are playing 4 copies of Weedmon. Again, we want him in the stack to be discarded later. When he gets Digi-Bursted, gain 1 memory. So this is a great way to get back some memory when you're playing your level 6s or higher Digimon. Whatever you're Digi-Bursting with is a way to get a little bit back from it. He's only a 1-2 evolve, 4 to play, so he's a super cheap, easy card to get out on the field in a variety of different circumstances. I would say this is also probably one of the new must-have cards. If you're running anything Digi-Burst, you should probably be running Weedmon. Our last level 4, we are running 4 copies of Sunflowmon. Sunflowers are amazing. Let's be honest, the Digi-Burst card allows us to send one of our opponents to... The effect is Digi-Burst 2. One of your opponent's suspended Digimon does not unsuspend on the next unsuspend phase. So basically, if our opponent swings, we don't want him to swing again, we can move Sunflowmon up, do a Digi-Burst, and keep it from coming back to bite us in the ass. Preferably, we don't want to be Digi-Bursting this soon into the game, but you never know when you need the opportunity. For our level 5s, we are running 4 copies of the lovely Lila Mon. We have to have our fairies here in the Tea Party, let's be honest. This is also just a really good card to run in general. Digi-Burst 2, suspended one of your opponent's Digimon, and then it has Inheritable that if you have a Tamer in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon when attacking. The suspending is not the main focus of this deck still, but more importantly, it's a Digi-Burst card, which we'll get into a little bit, and having the option to suspend an opponent's Digimon in case you need to force remove it, it's always a good option to have. Never hurts. Also, you can suspend a blocker and stop yourself from being blocked. We are running 4 copies of Cherrymon. Cherrymon is an excellent choice for any level 5 in any deck. He is only a 2 cost to evolve, which is super cheap for a level 5. But of all the 2 cost to evolves, this is the only one, to my knowledge, that is a blocker, which is kind of top tier. Not even black, with all its variety of blockers, has a 2 cost level 5 blocker. I kind of want one in my black deck. This is kind of busted, actually. So this feels 2 rolls first, allows us to get up to level 6s just a little bit quicker. Having that 2 cost is really crucial. But also more importantly, the blocker allows us to just block at a higher level. Sometimes the Kabuterimon is not enough. You can throw down a 7,000 DP blocker. Your opponent's going to have to go a little bit bigger to start swinging over this. For our level 6s, we run 2 copies of BanchoLillymon. BanchoLillymon is a fan request of this on deletion. Return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So this is a really cool card to use on 2 different situations. First, if your opponent, for whatever reason, decides to swing into BanchoLillymon, you're taking it out with him. And then if your opponent is already suspended after having attacked, you can suicide run the BanchoLillymon into it. BanchoLillymon gets deleted, and then you can return that Digimon to the bottom of the deck. There's very specific circumstances in which this card is used, but it does allow for some really funny no-you opportunities, and you can kind of board reset if your opponent just has the 1 boss monster and you need to get rid of it to secure yourself some game. We are running 2 copies of BT5 Rosemont. Now, if I was to trade out the BanchoLillymons out for anything, it might be for a few more of these Rosemonts. Rosemont has Digi-Burst 3, which is quite a lot of Digi-Burst, but all Digimon with Digi-Burst gain security +1, and that is partly why we run so many Digi-Burst cards, because no matter what other Digimon you have on the field, something is getting security +1. Your level 3s can get security plus, your level 4s can get security plus, your level 5s can get security plus. I know I reversed that order there. Don't pay me any mind. And then our last level 6 that also kind of acts as a level 7, we're running 2 copies of Raffliesmon. Raffliesmon is a level 6 that can evolve on a level 5 for 3 cost, which is pretty standard, but can also evolve on top of a level 6 for 1 cost, allowing it to extend that Digi-Burst chain just a little bit more. Plus you can combine that with the Palmon to add another Palmon to the bottom of it, and that gets a whole other Digi-Burst opportunity. And its ability, when you Digi-Burst 2, all of your Digimon gain plus 2,000 DP for the turn, but more importantly for a second effect, when any Digimon Digi-Burst, you can choose one of your opponent's Digimon that can't attack or block. This is crucial for just road blocking your opponent. Doesn't matter if they get their level 6 out, doesn't matter if they get Onimon out. You put this out, you Digi-Burst, they can't do anything next turn, and you have plenty of opportunity to Digi-Burst. You can throw out Terriermon and just Digi-Burst for 1, and bam, a whole Digimon can't do anything. There is Digi-Burst opportunity at every stage of this deck for you to either stall out your opponent and stop them from being able to do anything to you, or be able to just crush in security, or even both if you manage to get one of each out. For our tamers, we're running 2 copies of Mimi. Mimi is just a pretty simple tamer to run. It is a memory corrector, and then it allows us to interact with our breeding area. If you have a level 5 or higher Digimon, green Digimon in play, you can suspend Mimi to either hatch another egg after you've already hatched for the turn. You can move out of the raising area. Basically allows you to interact with the raising area one more time than you normally would have been able to. This is a good way to start flooding some green Digimon onto the field, get a little extras, maybe get that 1 extra Digi-Burst Digimon that you need. And then we are running 2 copies of Yoshino, who is the residential Digi-Burst tamer. It allows us to return an egg from our trash to our egg deck, which is not too crucial, but I guess it could come up. But more importantly, it reduces the Digivolution cost of Digi-Burst Digimon by 1, so we could technically be playing Raffliesmon for free if evolving on level 6, which is kind of fantastic. For our option cards, we are running 2 copies of Pollen Spray. This allows us to search for Digi-Burst cards to reveal 3 decks and add all of the Digi-Burst cards to them. Every one that we add, we get to suspend an opponent's Digimon. If this gets checked in security, this is a great way to end a very wide security attack if you're being attacked by a bunch of Digimon. It's only 3 cost to play to also search for up to 3 cards. So this is a good card. I want to try to run it. I got to play test it a bit more. This potentially can really speed up the deck a lot. And they're running 2 copies of Whistlein. I'm not going to pretend like I know how to pronounce this card. Up to 2 your opponent's Digimon can't attack or block until the end of their next turn. And you have a Digimon Digi-Burst in play. Gain 2 memory. So this is fantastic in two different regards. First, if you have to play this card, hard play it for 6 memory, you're pretty much playing it for 4 memory. 4 memory to stop 2 of your opponent's Digimon from doing something. That's pretty clutch. That guarantees you a whole turn, maybe even game at time. But more importantly, the security effect, it still does the same thing. So if you get attacked in security, you can stop further Digimon from attacking you, but then also you're gaining 2 memory because you're almost guaranteed to have a Digi-Burst out on the field. Your opponent swings into this, gain 2 memory. Sometimes that's just going to make it your turn automatically and throw the entire attack strategy out of the way, and then you can start setting up to tear them down. And that was Green Digi-Burst Tea Party. I definitely had a lot of fun making this deck. I like building decks. It's one of my favorite parts of the card game. Besides actually playing the card game, building the deck's a lot of fun, finding a lot of different ways you can piece together the different cards, make combos maybe someone wouldn't have thought of before. And I definitely love theme decks, so this was definitely a fun way to try to take a theme and try to make it as competitively viable as possible. Obviously, with Raffliesmon in it, that is naturally a competitive card to begin with, so there wasn't too much of a stretch to make this deck work other than just a few creative choices in the lower levels. But still, I had a lot of fun making it. Thanks for stopping by. If you want to see any other kind of creative, wacky decks coming up, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you had any suggestions for the Green Digi Tea Party while keeping it theme, and I'll catch you guys next time.